Live from the CBS 19 News studio, this is CBS 19 News at noon. Charlottesville News first.
Good afternoon and welcome to the CBS 19 News at noon. I'm Brenna Kiefner. Thank you for joining us today. Charlottesville police are announcing an arrest in a stabbing on UVA grounds that resulted in a shelter-in-place directive. That's the second one just this week. Here's the suspect on your screen. He's 44-year-old Edward Lee. CBS 19's Mark Gadd has more on the investigation.
Police responded to a stabbing near the 100 block of Emmett Street, where they found one victim with multiple stab wounds.
I was actually about to leave the library and go to my class, where he ended up passing by like 3 minutes after they sent the message.
Police say the suspect, who is now detained, is a middle-aged white male who was wearing a white t-shirt and blue UVA sweatpants.
He had like the UVA sweatpants on or something, so it was just like a lot of information all at once and like a lot to kind of go through. Yeah.
In a statement from UVA, they say the victim is in critical condition and is being treated at UVA Hospital.
It's hitting a little more, knowing that people were actually hurt.
This comes just 2 days after an active manhunt for 19-year-old Naeem Hill took place on grounds, causing a lengthy shelter-in-place order.
This is so out of the blue. Like, this isn't something that happens. Since like our almost 2 years being here, so I think it was just like shock.
People should start, taking more caution when they're just walking outside, walking from class to class at night, walking with someone.
UVA has now lifted the shelter in place, calling the situation stable. Again, that suspect is now detained, and they add that neither the suspect nor the victim had any ties to UVA.
Lee was arrested last night along Stribling Avenue, and he's currently being charged with malicious wounding. All right, AJ, thank you. U.S. Senator Tim Kaine is introducing stronger gun laws on Capitol Hill this week. It's called the Age 21 Act, legislation that would raise the minimum age to buy assault weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines from 18 to 21. Senator Kaine says everyone in America should be able to live free from the fear of injury or death caused by an assault weapon. And that's why he wants the age limit already in place for federally licensed dealers to apply to all gun purchases. Kaine says one of the most common sense steps that people can take to reduce the number of lives lost is limiting young people's access to assault weapons, just like the government already limits their access to handguns.
These weapons are designed to harm human beings. They're not for sport. They're not for hunting. They're for hunting people.
Kaine says the Age 21 Act builds on the bipartisan bill that was passed to implement meaningful gun safety measures following tragic shootings like the one in Uvalde.
This is an effort to kind of expand on that idea that folks under 21 we may need to condition a little more strictly their access to dangerous weapons that can harm themselves or others. And so that was my motivation for co-sponsoring the legislation.
And the legislation is endorsed by organizations like United Against Gun Violence and March for Our Lives. Last week, the Virginia General Assembly passed House Bill 1725 with bipartisan support. It's a bill that aims to limit the burden of medical debt by ensuring that interest rates on medical debt are limited to 3% a year. That 55% of Virginians have experienced a health care affordability burden in the past year. 78% are worried about affording health care in the future. Members of the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, which is an advocacy organization working to make cancer issues a national priority, rallied behind the bill.
It protects patients' properties and other personal assets from being seized due to medical debt collection. And the third thing that this bill does is it limits interest rates to 3%, and it also prevents interest rates from accruing within the first 90 days.
Supporters also say this helps ease the burden on all cancer patients, especially with an increased number of younger people being diagnosed with cancer. It is 12:05, still ahead on the CBS 19 News at noon. Some Charlottesville City School students ditched the bus this morning and laced up their shoes for their commute to school. We'll have more about their walk to school event right after a check on your forecast with AJ.